Hello gamers, gamettes, to the Metal Logs. I got a very special one. Honestly, I shouldn't be making this. The more that I think about it, the more I'm like piecing together, I'm being rage baited. There's no way. There's no way. So, I recently uploaded a video called Isaac and Setting the Bar. It's a video about Isaac the video game, which, I mean, if you put that together, you are a lot smarter than this person. I won't give any names. I'm not gonna tell you to go harass this person. Actively, I'm telling you not to because, well, come on, we're talking about video games here. It doesn't matter. Firstly, they comment on the video. Why is this just a 2-hour explanation of what characters do and what challenges are? I was hoping for a new interesting take on the story. Firstly, yeah, I didn't have a new take on the story because, well, I don't like having takes when I have no questions. I know that Isaac did have a father growing up, that he left, why he left, who the narrator is, what all the bosses and endings mean, and I quite enjoy the story of Isaac. But because I have nothing really profound to say on the lore of Isaac, I choose to focus on, the game mechanics and game design in the video game. That's why I talked about stuff like how they work, how they are received, small facts and trivia about them, how they interact with other mechanics, and my thoughts and perspective on them. And then they hit me with, except you didn't do any of what you said. They got me. There's no way that in the video I talk about how things work. But on Eve specifically, it works on 1 full red heart. So, as long as you stay at 1 full red heart, you will be incredibly buffed in your speed, damage, and having a funny bird. Important thing about the Lost is what he lacks. HP. Entirely. Which means if the Lost takes 2 hits, it's over. Or small facts and trivia about them. Figures of Isaac are based off of biblical figures, also the 4 main classes in D&D. An interesting bit of trivia is that a lot of people confuse the fez on his head as a reference to Fez, developed by Phil Fish. And I see where you can make this comparison because, Phil Fish was a cunt and Judas was also a cunt, so But it's mainly because Edmund wanted to put a cool hat on Judas to make him more like a wizard class without him having a wizard hat. Or how mechanics work with the other one in mind. By consuming them, you take on their effects, being a variety of good and bad and neutral things. This is a very simple risk-reward game. Yeah, Cain doesn't play it. Cain is physically incapable of eating a bad pill. Even with pills designed with an upside and a downside in mind, he only gets the upside part. If you're not in that scenario, if you spawn a item in a pool you want and then re-roll, it will only turn into those exact items. Or how I and the community receive certain aspects. It's also kind of community-wide that they prefer the chest over the dark world. But I do love them both, because if I'm getting sick of the chest, I can go to the dark world. And if I'm getting sick of the dark world, I can go to the chest. And there is a debate to be had that angel deals are better than devil deals. Because, the worst angel item is just okay, while the worst devil deal item is, that's really all to the everything is terrible. I love it. Yes, it makes the game just harder for no particular reason, but I like that. Isaac is infinitely more fun when I have something to groan about. Blue Baby is my least favorite character in all of Isaac. Blue Baby is the worst designed character in this entire game. Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you. I actually give my perspective and opinion so much in the video that people disagree with my perspective and opinion. Kinda impossible to do that if it's not in the video. And I'm fine if they disagree, they're wrong. Someone can have a different opinion from mine. Honestly, you could have just commented video shit, and I would have just had to hold that. But there is a quite large gap between opinions and critique. For example, Internet Anarchist. I think the editing is particularly good, but I find the whole video particularly boring. That's an opinion, could never go unchanged. But a valid critique for Internet Anarchist is that he plagiarizes the fuck out of his videos. Literally, undeniable. There's evidence of plagiarism. That's a critique. But if the critique falls flat after you, I don't know, watch the video you're critiquing, then it's not good criticism. It's not good. They go on to say, the video is titled Setting the Bar, so I had very high expectations, especially with a ContraPoints/Philosophy Tube runtime. And yet, what you delivered was straight up subterranean. If the video were titled something more honest, like yapping about Toboy characters' mechanics for 2 hours, you'd probably find an audience that actually, wants to watch that instead of luring in us lore heads with Pyrite. Well, I will say, Pyrite, that's elite ball knowledge, fool's gold. But here's a small thought experiment. You look at the thumbnail and you see the title, The Binding of Isaac and Setting the Bar. Isaac surrounded by video game characters. And then you click on the video and then it just starts talking about roguelites and how one game always comes to mind. It's like that game Set the Bar or something. And then there's like a montage showing off gameplay, and then I start talking about how it's my favorite roguelite game. And I keep on saying the word game and game and game over and over again. You might start to piece together that it's mainly gonna focus on the video game part of Isaac. But then, you watch the entire 2 hours of me talking about the game, and then you're like, fuck, this wasn't a lore video? It's not advertised as a lore video in the slightest. Lore is a section in the video, but it's not the main focus. You wanna know why? 'Cause it's focused on the video game. Whoa. For someone so obsessed with the lore, you fucking suck at putting 2 and 2 together. My ass kicked down the door to the steakhouse and I ordered a big ass steak. It came to my table. I devoured it. And then I'm pissed it wasn't a salad. You could tell me it's fucking rage bait. Like, you could literally just say, I got you got rage baited. I'm like, oh, you got me. The word game is used 117 times in the fucking video, and you didn't pick up that's mainly about the fucking video game? That's on you. Yes, you can maybe get a little confused thinking, oh, he's gonna touch on a lot of other roguelites, but the thing is, the intro clears that up. If you go in expecting other roguelites, that's on fucking you, cause it literally says one game. One game. PS5 players could fucking never. And at almost any point, you could have just instantly clicked off. Maybe watch the Philosophy Tube video. Wait, there's Death Note in the thumbnail? But doesn't touch on Death Note? What the fuck? What can I say? Your goat's washed. Pack it up. I'd actually make that point if I was fucking stupid. But, I can put in the fact that the Death Note in the thumbnail is just to be a little nod to Death Note without it being a full video about Death Note. What was that called again? Putting 2 and 2 together? Alright, there's like 2 scenarios this is. 1, I've been fucking rage baited, and this worked perfectly because I made a fucking video about it. Or 2, just like your average midwit. And to reiterate, well, good old Hanlon's razor. Don't go after this person. Being a midwit is not a crime, even though it should be. Anyways, gamers, see you on April Fool's Day for my April Fool's Day video essay.